Hey everybody, so if you're seeing this video, you've already made it past the syllabus quiz. Congratulations. I don't want to say that's the hardest part of the semester because all the answers are on the syllabus, but it's one that people tend to have a lot of difficulty with. So now the question is, what do you do next? Well, one of the things that the syllabus mentions and that I talked about on the syllabus video is that you have 12 lessons, each of which is going to require you to do an alternative assignment. Only one alternative assignment is due for each of these lessons, so you have to do a total of 12. Now, every week, every one of these lessons is going to give you 2 or 3 options of what you can do. Some of these are just going to be quizzes. They're multiple choice quizzes. That's all you have to do. But in each of the 12 lessons, you're going to have at least one writing assignment that you can choose if you want to, as a way of completing the alternative assignment credit. In many of the weeks, the only option you have is a writing assignment. So what I want to do is to do a quick run through of what these questions are like, and then show you the rubric that I will be using whenever I grade your alternative assignments, so that way you can know how to do well on them. So I have on the screen for you an example of the kind of question that you're likely to see, or a prompt that you're likely to see for one of these alternative assignments. In this case, this is the alternative assignment B for lesson 1, AA1B, redefining development. Now, what most of these assignments are going to do is going to ask you to watch a video or to read an article or to check out a chapter from a book, some kind of content outside of the textbook that helps to provide relevance to the material that you're using. For this particular question, you're going to be watching a video, and then afterwards, you're going to be asked to submit a short essay. Now, one of the things that I'll note is that for all of these assignments, or almost all, the prompt's going to tell you that you need to provide these in essay format. That means you're using standard paragraphs, not just simply bullet points. If you only use bullet points, you're likely to have a few points taken off. Now, when I flip up to the rubric, what you're going to see are the components for each of the prompts. The prompts are going to be specific to the article that you have to read or the video you have to watch, but all of the prompts are going to basically ask you to do 5 things. First thing it's going to do is there's going to be some kind of a fact or a piece of information, pieces of information that are going to be related to you in the article. This is usually going to come first in the prompt. In this case, what is the main thesis? Again, this is a fact. The thesis is in the article. Everyone should get the same basic answer. But what most of the prompts will also do, and in fact, what the point of most of the prompts are going to be, is it's going to ask you to draw some conclusions based upon the article or based upon the video, and then provide some kind of a response from your own perspective. So in this case, does the change identified mean countries like the US need to think about the rest of the world differently? Why or why not? Now, there's no one right answer to these prompts. There's no one correct conclusion that you might draw. There's not necessarily one correct response that you could advocate for. What's important here is that the conclusion needs to be based somehow on the material that you're provided. The perspective needs to be a perspective of your own that demonstrates that you have read, that you've considered, and that you have some kind of a relationship to the material. So as I look at how this prompt scores from 0 points all the way over to 35 points for each of these categories, notice that 35 points is going to have an "and also" in each of them. Something that tells you that you're not simply doing the bare minimum, but you are then also going a little bit further. Something that you need to understand about all of these is that the "and also" is always going to mean, have you actually verified to make sure that the information that's being provided to you in this article is accurate? While we may have an article that talks about the drug war in Colombia, or we may have an article that talks about the conflict in Myanmar, there's no guarantee that what I've given you is the only approach or the only set of facts that are important. So while you can get an A on every single one of these alternative assignments simply by doing a good job responding to them, if you want to get full credit, if you want to get a 95 to 100, you're going to need to go out, verify the information, and if you're providing a perspective of your own and you're making an argument, go out and find some evidence to support your position. Because of that, there are a couple of other things that each of these prompts are going to expect from you, even if it is not stated in the question. This is something that is assumed to be true because this is a 300 level course. The first thing that is assumed to be true is that you're going to be using professional quality writing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Most of the time, the best that a person is going to be able to get is to jump up here to this 13-point range where they demonstrate collegiate level writing ability. Most of the time, that's what you're going to score on this. If you don't do as well, if you're using bullet points, if you have grammar issues, then the number of points that you get start deducting further down. However, every once in a while, I do get a response that is so well written that I go ahead and add these 2 extra points for exceptional writing ability rather than just collegiate level writing ability. If you're writing exceptionally, that means that you're ready for the workforce in this area or you're ready for grad school in this area. Doesn't happen very often, but I do get a couple of those every semester. The other thing that you have to do, since you have a source that's being given to you, and you have the textbook that you might have to use to back you up, and also you're going to need to go out and provide an outside third source to help you out, you have to cite everything. This is a 300 level academic course. Academic citation and support is necessary. Academic citation means a couple of different things. One thing that it means is that you are using some kind of a standard citation methodology. Another thing that it means is that you're using an in-text citation style. It also means that you're using some form of a bibliographic information like a works cited page at the end. If you don't include all of these things, you don't get full credit. If you include all 3, you can get up to 10 points for academic support. If you include none of them, you get 0. And you understand how the range might proceed in between there. Now, one thing I will point out to you is that as this rubric progresses, early points are usually pretty easy to get. So in the fact-based prompt section, you can get 20 points simply by making the first 2 categories. The next 15, however, requires you to proceed across the 4 remaining areas upon which you can be evaluated. This means that, I'm going to be honest with you, the average grade on one of these assignments is going to be somewhere in the B to B- range, mostly because of professionalism and academic support, but occasionally also because people don't quite go all of the way that they need to in terms of making an argument. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of what you need to do in order to be successful on all of the written alternative assignments. If you have any other questions, after you start turning them in and I start grading them, let me know and I'm happy to talk to you about them or go over them with you. Until then, have a good semester.